Have you ever felt seriously misunderstood? Most people, no doubt, at some point have felt that. Or maybe you've struggled to understand someone. And when we don't understand someone, it's very easy to fill in the gaps ourselves. To assume, to judge. 皆さんこんにちは、みつきと言います。よろしくお願いします。Hello everyone, my name is Mitsuki, and I'm here to help bridge the gap between Japan and the rest of the world in many ways, hopefully to bring you a side of Japan you didn't know. Japan is closer than you think. So, is Japan just misunderstanding the world, or is the world misunderstanding Japan? Let's go back to the idea of misunderstanding someone. This can easily be the case, especially when the person seems to follow many rules, expectations, or social cues we're not familiar with or understand. Although many people dream of coming to Japan or living here, while others have the various levels of interest in the country, and yet, with or even without that sense of connection to the country and its people, there still remains this fear around the rules. Considerably for someone coming from the West, the thought of drawing a line or setting a standard feels as if they're being pushed out of their comfort zone. But what often gets missed is something much simpler. What I've learned over the many years in Japan, the decades around the language and its culture, is this. Trying matters. If you've been trying, I sincerely thank you, as well as the 125 plus million Japanese people sincerely thank you. When people make an effort to understand Japan, even imperfectly, that effort is felt, and it's often respected in return. Being humble, even though society may neglect to say please, thank you, and sorry, is something that's very important, especially when you're an outsider coming in. So even just trying to be sensitive to others' feelings, if you make a mistake and say sorry, or at least show you're sorry, that'll just ease the tension and help build that bridge or fill that gap even more. Also, don't let others' unfortunate experiences pull you down. It can be hard to say which side was in error. We may never know both sides. It can be just bad timing between two parties. Misunderstandings can still happen anywhere in the world, whether you speak the same language or not. But to help you understand a bit better, have you ever heard the Japanese phrase, 空気を読む? 空気 is air, 読む is to read. So 空気を読む, or reading the air, it basically is about noticing small things. For example, if everyone's quiet on the train, it may be best to be discreet and mind our speaking volume. Yet some may assume reading the air or such subtle nuances may be too much. For one thing, if you are asked if you'd like more tea, that could mean you need to go home because you've overstayed your welcome. That kind of cultural expectation can be intimidating for anyone, but honestly, Japanese don't usually do this, if not much anymore, nor are foreigners expected to know or abide by such an unknown custom. They are seriously and truly 99% most likely just offering you more tea. So if you'd like, you may accept the tea if you want to top up. But in all honesty, it isn't about being in on everything, in the know, to even be perfect about cultural points, as if you're expected to magically understand everything without being told when coming to the country. They don't expect that at all, and they'd be surprised if you even knew. If they did expect it, it's not very considerate, and not very much the norm. It's more about intention, observing, noticing how others behave and learning from them. Not getting right immediately, but at least showing you're paying attention and you're trying. It can also help quite possibly with your personal daily life by being more observant, maybe even as a protection. They say when in Rome, do as the Romans do. In Japan, it's similar. When in Japan, do what the Japanese do. Coming to Japan shouldn't just be about having fun and doing what you want, but a time to learn, a time to reflect. Some people may associate Japan with getting a spiritual awakening by going to some spiritual-like place, even though in the minds of Japanese people today having a sense of spiritual awareness is one of the last things from their minds. You can, in a way, experience having your eyes being opened to a lot of things in Japan that you may have never thought of as you observe people around you. It's often where real understanding begins, if anything, putting yourself in their shoes. However, there's one thing where in the West you could be judged or labeled, and yet in Japan you are welcome without bias, which is the idea of being a sensitive person. In many Western countries, possibly even still today, or 10, 20 years ago, saying someone is being sensitive, or is sensitive, or HSP, aka a highly sensitive person, could make people feel uncomfortable. It sometimes comes with the fear that the person might overreact, take things too personally, or suddenly explode emotionally. In Japan, however, being sensitive is normal. Sensitivity here is more closely linked to awareness, reading the air, considering others' feelings, and you yourself wanting and trying to be a better person. When someone admits they are sensitive, it isn't necessarily embarrassing nor negative. In fact, many people will simply say, Japanese people are sensitive too. I can't tell you how many times I have had conversations with locals that were surprised to learn a Westerner's feelings could be so similar to their own. When you see Japan through this lens, a lot of things will start to make more sense. So for those who still feel things culturally can be difficult, it's probably because they're surrounded by highly sensitive people. Guess that can be overwhelming for foreign guests. Welcome to the world of highly sensitive people. Not at all, of course, that all Japanese people are highly sensitive. Yeah, but it's definitely much more than, say, in the West by comparison. But think of it this way. Say, for example, you're learning Japanese and you freeze in responding or saying something. Don't feel bad, Japanese do that all the time and they're the native speakers. You are in good company. I remember watching a 1960s documentary, which you can find on YouTube, which I really recommend searching, as of a former ambassador to the United States that observed, to Americans, Japanese may seem impassive, but the human heart is the same everywhere. To be human is to be emotional, and the Japanese are very human and very emotional. And that is so true. Although the idea is to keep one's emotions in check, as for the native people, the other side of it is how you choose to react to what is given you. In the West, it's thought that we have to start things equally. Yet in Asia, the thought is you deal with what you are given no matter how good or bad it is. Depends on how you choose to use it or react to it. Traditionally speaking, there are things that are still being remembered, while there are things that are starting to get forgotten. In some cases, it may be for the best. Still, there are things that are part of that identity, which are sadly and gradually being put aside, giving this feeling of losing its culture, leaving it as a bittersweet combination. What I hope you may take away from this is, in Japan, a lot of communication happens quietly. Japan isn't necessarily hard by default, but it also depends on how you choose to react to it. You can choose to look at the bright side or the downside. It's your decision. Not all Japanese are distant or cold. They most likely are just really busy internally, thinking about many things and no doubt tired. Also, they're just very careful with people they don't know and afraid of being embarrassed more than anything. Also, still, a good percentage of them are sensitive or highly sensitive people. Yet, remember, when someone from the outside comes to Japan and tries to understand or be considerate of their country and culture, it doesn't go unnoticed. So be aware, notice. In Japan, do as the Japanese do. Reflect on why do they do what they do. Put yourself in their shoes. This can really help build relationships in any culture. So remember to read the air, but not overread it. Trying matters more than getting it right. That's the best way to stop the cycle of misunderstanding, if only until we are being more understanding ourselves. I hope this bit of insight helps. Look forward to more future in-depth videos about all sorts of things to be learned about Japan. and a number of which may have not been shared to the West before. So look forward to that. Also, would like to hear from you. Please share what you would like to see. The more ideas, the merrier. 皆さん最後まで聞いてくれてありがとうございました。また次回のビデオで会いましょう。Thank you for watching till the end and until the next video.